Good morning, time for another walk on PNG Pacific area on the way to Papua New Guinea. We are actually here. We went to Alatau yesterday. I don't know if you can see the sun. The sun is just peeking through there. It's actually quite pink. I don't think this video is going to give it justice, but it's actually beautiful and red as the sun is poking up there over the horizon. So we're going actually really quite slow because the distance between our two ports is not very far. They're probably less than 100 nautical miles, probably. Very close. Anyway, we're going to Kitava today, which is a tender port. So this is the sunrise for this morning. It's quite spectacular. So today on the PNG island of Kitava, depending on how you want to say it, we'll see how the tender process goes today. There are no shore excursions because this one's a little, very little island, so you just go off and snorkel and it's just beautiful, and the locals set up stands and buy the baskets and some carved wood items. It's really, really beautiful. So here we are on PNG Pacific area, and we'll see how the tender process goes for the PNG island of Kitava. The wind's picking up now as we moved away from the shelter of this island, but Kitava is an island in the Milne Bay province, and one of the sentences or statements that came out of yesterday that I'd never heard before, that Milne Bay is a maritime province. And I'd never actually considered this, but the fact that there are most of the population actually live on islands, so hence making Milne Bay a maritime province. So within this Milne Bay province, there's 7 island groups, and I can't remember them all, but they are something like Lachlan, Woodlark, the Estracasto, the Conflict group, and there's another group that's called an archipelago, and then Kitava belongs to a group called Troraband, Troraband, Troraband group. So now that the sun is well and truly up, and I'm actually walking towards the sun, which is not a standard practice for me because it's very bright. But what I can see here is little islands coming into view, rich and green and lush jungle islands, and they will be surrounded by coral reefs and probably some of the most pristine water that you can find. One of the things that somebody said to us yesterday, one of the deputy guy from the hospital or the chief doctor or something, he said about one of the major things that is impacting on Papua New Guinea is climate change, and how he said that the beaches that were once beaches, or the water that was once on a beach, is now up to the line of the coconut plantations. So that was a really, really poignant thing for us in the developing world, in the first world, to really consider about how we impact people in these smaller developing nations. So I can't wait to get over and visit the island of Kitava today. Yesterday at Milne Bay, when we were at Alatau Hospital, the doctor gave us a talk, and he indicated 5 issues that were facing Papua New Guinea, and in reality they weren't medical issues, they were actually all social issues, and they included violence against women, police brutality, deaths that are occasioned because of superstitious beliefs. Another one was corruption. He actually gave us 5, but there's only 4. But I found it really interesting that his observation to the major areas of concern with Papua New Guinea were not necessarily health related. He did say to us about health related stuff. About 20 years ago he wouldn't have ever done a diabetes related operation, an amputation, or anything related to diabetic necrosis or something, but now he would have done them one a month maybe, he said, about 20 years ago, when now he's doing 3 or 4 a week. So that is interesting, related to health. The other thing that we observe related to health is the actual primary health system had the name of at 40, and it had a heart in it, and it had an ECG through it, and it was at 40, because the wellness campaign for this region is to keep people alive past the age of 40. So that's when they do all the health screening and that type of thing. But you can go there at any time, they said. But it was really, really interesting that their aged care line, their concept of what an older person was when they reached 40. So a few of those things will be really interesting to investigate in more depth. So Captain Lorenzo just said that we are going around the north end of the island of Kitava. Hopefully I'm capturing this. And then he mentioned about this pod of dolphins that are following the ship. Just beautiful. Let's check out those flags. Aren't they the most beautiful things? Gorgeous. So when I'm cruising, I try to balance my cruising indulgence, the food and the alcohol, with doing a little bit of exercise, and mainly starting my day with some exercise, because then I know that it's done and dusted. So everybody is on their own health journey, and you just do whatever you want to. You can go to the gym, or you can just do the stairs, or use the pool, do some swimming in the pool. Well, I started today on the 12th deck, and that was absolutely beautiful day because we weren't going very fast. The wind wasn't too bad, and it was just the most beautiful morning. And I thought, mix it up, girlfriend. Go down to the 6th floor to the walkabout deck. So I walked down, walked 6 levels, only to have a sign down there saying that the deck was closed. And that just seems to be something that this company does at about 6:30 in the morning, when most people are out on their walking. They close the walking deck. So all excitedly I walked up the 6 flights again up into the 12th deck, so that I can finish the second half. I'll get all my steps in before I cruise to the pantry and find out what is on for breakfast this morning. So we've slowed down at the north end of the Trobarand island of Kitava. In the background there you may be able to see some wooden canoes. Locals hopefully coming out to greet us and not eat us. might be able to see behind me a life vessel. See if I do this, you can see two life vessels. Lifeboats. This is how we're going to get over to the Trobriand island of Kitava today. So I'm actually coming to the end of my walk today, and I was privileged enough today to share a couple of laps with someone who wanted to talk about humidity. Normally it would be humidity, starts with a lovely H, but they dropped that, so it's humidity. Because there is not a cloud in the sky, but the perspiration is just running off me this morning. So humidity would have to be about 80% or more. And that's the magic about being in the tropics.